Welcome back to the ROKK Rundown. It's been a busy week here in Washington. From Sunday was the Super Bowl. We've been watching the Olympics pretty readily. A lot of the theme of the year seems to be unfolding, right? Everybody's talking about America 250. There's some discussion about Freedom 250 is another part of the conversation. What do you think about companies that are leaning into the Made in America and the America branding itself? Seems to me like a pretty safe opportunity. What do you say?
I think it's safe. I also think it's smart. I think it's something that is bringing people from both the left and the right together. Gives for folks an opportunity, as you say, for a brand safe messaging opportunity. I think you're going to be seeing more and more of it. We were just talking before about the Freedom 250, which I think we'll see how that kind of plays out. But yeah, no, I think that if you're a brand and you're looking for ways to communicate both with policymakers here in Washington, D.C., while also figuring out something to give to your customers over these next 6 or 7 months, this is a good place to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're threading the needle with the White House, where President Trump is, making this a really big deal, and also Democrats who are also extremely patriotic. How can you not like it? And then consumers, their customers base. It's just a really good idea to do, and you can do all kinds of things. You can do America 250 events at your plants, your factories around the country, your customer service centers, wherever it's at. You can do something with a cabinet member or invite a member of Congress to one of your events. You can write about it. You can put ads up. There's all kinds of things to do. We have a number of our clients right now that have asked us to put America 250 events together, which we're doing. We even did a webinar for our clients as well on it, because there's so much interest in what's going on and what a number of publishers are offering around it.
Feels like there's going to be a lot of opportunity. It feels like it's a great opportunity on all the different platforms. There's also,
can I just say one just other thing about that is that it's not just a celebration of how far we've come as a country in the last 250 years. I think it's an opportunity for these companies to talk about what are the next 250 years look like? What are those innovations? What are those things? I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of heavy AI messaging, among others. So I think it's an opportunity to not only just celebrate where we started and where we've come to, but what the future of America looks like.
It's also, I think, lined up with another question that I have for you guys. For the first time the internet can correct me if I don't have this quite right, but for the first time in history, at least my history paying attention, is that there were two different opportunities at a time this week when ordinarily we'd all be watching. And that's Super Bowl halftime show. Mm-hmm. Ordinarily, everybody sits down, regardless of how you feel about the game, to see what that is, right? And this year, for the first time, there were two different opportunities. So you saw that people that either were fundamentally aligned with the administration now did turn away and watched something else. What do you think about that? Is that setting a trend for something that'll happen more and more?
Well, no, it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. I mean, they had 5 million YouTube viewers, YouTube TV viewers on the alternative one. That's nothing compared to the Super Bowl halftime show, of course. It was a record amount of people that watched Bad Bunny. I watched Bad Bunny. I just didn't understand what he was saying. I took Spanish, so I kind of have baby Spanish, from high school. Mm-hmm. I just wish they subtitled it, because that way I would have known what was going on. I thought it was really well done. But I do think, look, we'll have to see what it looks like next year. Part of it is who's the Super Bowl bringing as the entertainment. Mm. But it does open up a box. It may not be a political thing, response. Let's say it's much more of a rap singer, like we had Kendrick Lamar last year. Mm-hmm. Maybe country music wants to do their halftime show, and there's a country music halftime show. Mm-hmm. It could end up being like New Year's Eve, where you have different programs that are going on. But look, the lion's share is still focused on the Super Bowl halftime, on the acts. I really do prefer them going back to playing for the stadium, playing for the audience, like Prince and Michael Jackson and those guys, Rihanna and that, than going through the maze of things like The Weeknd and Bad Bunny. But that's just me. That's my style.
You make a good point, and I'm actually curious about your thoughts about that, because Bad Bunny's performance really was tailored to the home audience. as opposed to the crowd in the stadium. You're a guy who pays close attention to that. What was your take on that?
I don't know, if you're in the stadium, I think, like, I don't know, you're getting a beer and going to the bathroom. I
Probably.
just, like, I mean, well, so first of all, I didn't get to watch it, and it has nothing to do with, actually, I love Bad Bunny.
What?
I was putting my 5-year-old to sleep.
Okay.
He got to watch
All right.
he got to watch the first half,
that's
and
a
it was
late
it was
game.
bedtime, and
Yeah,
so
Okay.
had to put him to bed. Listen, as to whether or not this is a thing going for, I think a lot of this is going to just depend on, like, the political energy out there. There was political energy for this for a whole bunch of reasons. I think a lot of it was just outrage. I think the irony is that the outrage probably helped put some more eyes on the Bad Bunny thing too, where it's like, wait, who's this guy, and why is everybody so upset, and maybe I should watch this, and so on. So I think it's just gonna kind of depend. Listen, I think every year there's always going to be something. To your point as to whether or not this continues, I think it's political, but it's also another revenue stream, and people are just always figuring out ways to create new revenue streams. So you're right, this actually might be something, regardless of the political outrage, that you see going forward.
All right. Well, we're going to keep an eye on it. Thanks so much for joining us this week for the ROKK Rundown.